Thank you for the introduction. And yeah, Imke is part of our expert board. Yeah, so she recommended to insert this kind of talk and this kind of presentation into this webinar, although I'm not addressing healthcare specifically, but more or less more self-determination also in terms of autism. But let me first try to share the screen, and I'll try to share the full screen presentation now again. We'll see if that works. Looks good?
Yeah,
Looks
so I'm impressed. Okay, thank you.
Finally, we managed to see a full screen presentation, yes. So yeah, first, yeah, really thank you for getting the opportunity to show this this research project to you. It's called Autark, which is a German abbreviation, but nevertheless, Autark as the label says, highlights and underlines the self-determination of autistic adults which is the focus of our project. So that should be sufficient here as an explanation for the name. And our goal within this project is to develop assistive technologies for autistic adults, or to improve the employment situation of autistic adults specifically. And the reason why this talk is part of this webinar basically is that without artificial intelligence, all those assistive technologies we are developing wouldn't be possible at all. Yeah, so we have application scenarios where we use assistive technologies, where we use artificial intelligence to create or to develop assistive technologies. Yeah, my name is David Gollasch. Yeah, I'm a researcher in human-computer interaction, computer science at the Dresden University of Technology. And what should be, or what could be interesting as well about our project is that it's not funded by the usual ways how research projects are funded, basically the EU or the DFG in the German field, or the several other institutions. But what we have here is that we are funded by the Compensation Fund, which is managed by the German Federal Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. And the Compensation Fund summarizes the fees that corporations have to pay when they are not employing the right number of people with disabilities. Yeah, and those fees are partly getting into this compensation fund, and the goal of the compensation fund is to fund projects that are improving the employment situation of people with certain kind of disabilities. And so we are focusing on autism spectrum disorder here in this field. This project is a 3-year project starting with January 2023, and we are now in our last year of the project here, 2025. Our goal is to improve the employment situation of and employment opportunities in the general labor market of autistic adults. So we are focusing on those kinds of autistic adults that are capable of working in the general labor market. Yeah. So this is a focus of our project, and it's as well a focus to focus on office working environments. So it's not an industrial chain we're working for, but the office environment. And we see that there's a huge gap between the number of people that would be able to work in the general labor market and who don't. Yeah, so there are no real reliable numbers, but almost half of autistic people are not employed at all, and only a small fraction of 5 to 10% of autistic people who could work in the general labor market actually work there. And the reasons for this discrepancy is mostly that the working conditions are not suitable for the needs and the requirements of autistic people. One major challenge of our project is that, when we have the goal to develop some kind of assistive technology, it's very hard to develop something that fits all needs of all autistic people. Yeah, because you know, autism is so diverse within this user group that it's hard to tackle all the challenges and all the characteristics of the people we are addressing our technology to. So what we have to ensure, and what is the key challenge within our project, is to offer a certain kind of adaptability or variability in the way of how to use the technology that we want to offer. So that's very customizable. What we do is we see that there are different challenges, and they can be categorized more or less into three larger categories, which is the first one that we have, that there are certain challenges in terms of overstimulation, so certain stimuli that lead to stressful situations and that prevent you from doing actually your work. Yeah, the second group, the category of social interaction, so that basically communication scenarios are challenging. May it be an email communication, a chat situation, or the real face-to-face communication, or the kind of hybrid meetings and Zoom meeting situation like we have it here. And the third category is the self-management, time and task management situation, so that you are able to structure your own tasks, you can prioritize tasks, that you can deal with some uncertainty during the day. And as well, if you're doing your work and you're very into your, very concentrated into your work, that you don't miss making breaks in the right situation and the right moment. And to tackle all these specific and biodiverse needs, what we are applying is a so-called human-centered design approach, which is more or less a defined kind of procedure, an iterative process that that allows or defines some kinds of methodologies to involve the target user group into the whole development process, right? So you have, on one hand, you want to get to know your user group, you want to get to know the situations your technology is being used in, or the tasks you're using for. So you, as a developer, need to understand what you're developing for, right? So to derive the right requirements, to derive or have the right design decisions during your implementation process. Then you have your implementation process, of course. This is the design phase here in the slide. And afterwards, you have the evaluation where you have to check whether your technology or prototypes that you're developing really actually work, and are they accepted by the user group, and are they usable, are they potentially being adopted by the target user group. And one of those methodologies in terms of the user analysis is to create some kind of personas. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of personas, but personas are more or less stereotypical representation of the target user group that you're working for. And here's a problem, yeah? So designing stereotypical representations of a super diverse target user group is very difficult. And it's something that, we spent really lots of hours, lots of months in to produce or to come up with some personas. And what we did there is that we had different kinds of interviews, very detailed and long-lasting interviews with autistic adults, as well as with students and interns that we have as well in our project. We made some observations in vocational training centers and talked to the trainers that are there that are dealing with the specific needs as well of their autistic trainees. We talked to, of course, other scientists working in that field. And that's so we spent really huge efforts in that to get to know the details about how autism affects the work environment and what could actually potentially help, and came up with a group of personas, not one persona, but a group of persona, which here you can see the images I missed to translate. But nevertheless, you see that there are 5 personas that are or that should be very diverse within that group. And our claim is that if you do not design technology for one of those personas, but to all of 5 of these, we should have covered a huge range of different needs and different challenges that people face. And so that our technology, when built for all 5 of these personas, should cover a huge range of the challenges that we want to face and the group that we want to address. And so these are the basics, and the highlight in the direction of it's still important to involve the user group heavily into the whole process, of course. But what I want to show you now is what kinds of technologies are there that we are working on, we are developing, that we created prototypes in, and in what way artificial intelligence plays a role in here. So one more or less low-hanging fruit probably is that we have to address the written communication. So at least the situation where you have to deal with emails, which is very common in office environments, of course. And there, artificial intelligence, even those systems like ChatGPT, could improve you could support yourself by dealing with your emails during reading and understanding and interpreting emails, the same as you could be supported by writing emails. So what we want to do is, or what we are doing actually, is that we have some certain kind of plugin within your email systems. At the moment, it's a Gmail plugin that analyzes the emails that coming into your inbox, and they are getting analyzed in a certain way. I'll come to this in a second. And afterwards, you'll get a kind of optimized inbox with emails with attached information on that really helps you to interpret and understand what's in that email. So it provides you, of course, with some kind of short summary. Too long didn't read a summary for your email, of course. But not only this, this plugin analyzes the email text alongside for sayings or for metaphorical formulations. So all those kinds of formulations that are not meant by word, right? And that helps you to interpret those formulations within emails. Something that this plugin also does is it transforms the content of the email in a more structured way so that it explicitly states what kind of task that affects you might be associated with that email. Yeah, so you can get an overview of what is the task that you might be assigned to by that email. Are there deadlines meant in this email, or are there other information that you have to seek by others in that email? And all those kind of analysis steps are done after you get an email within your inbox. Then it's processed, and the optimized inbox is actually the email with the added information on that might help you to interpret that email further. And the writing process, on the other hand, is as well supported in a way that specific formulations are proposed. It helps you to keep some kind of straight argumentation within your email. So even though if your ideas in your head are very chaotic and it's flipping around, it helps you to have a certain clear argumentation within the text that you're sending out. And that's something that we address in the communication part in written communication. We took this over as well in the world of live communication, so synchronous communication, meaning social interaction. On one hand, in real life scenarios, as well as video conferencing situations. The real life scenarios do have a bit of a problem in the case of that, or in the sense of that we are working with virtual reality glasses to add some certain kind of information into the environment. But of course, in today's office environments, it's not very common to wear any virtual reality glasses, you know. But what would be more usual, or that you can think of, is the augmentation of information within a video conferencing system, especially in hybrid meetings, as you can see here on the screenshot, where you see that you as a participant sitting at home maybe, or sitting wherever you are, of course, you're the remote participant, but you are part of a hybrid meeting where several people meet in one room, where you have one room camera, and it's hard to tell without any further information who really is speaking, who's in this room, and to get some information about the people that are in this meeting actually. Yeah, so they're not only the problems or the challenges I mentioned in the direction of understanding what's been said, but of course as well, so linguistic, stylistic devices that are in your talks are as well an issue, of course. But you have, of course, the issue of sometimes you do not recognize the people that are there, And only presenting a name wouldn't be sufficient in many cases. Yeah, so sometimes it's helpful to know in which project or task you both are involved in, also probably, for instance. And it might be interesting as well in which role the people that are attending those meetings are involved in. Is it probably your boss, or is it a colleague, or is it a customer, or is it an external, that's a guest within the situation? That might be interesting as well. And all those kind of analysis and stuff is of course done as well by a certain kind of artificial intelligence, of course. Another low-hanging fruit might be addressing headphones. Yeah, so you know that many autistic people use headphones to reduce auditive stress, or you need autistic acoustic stimuli to reduce those. But the problem with those noise canceling headphones is in office environments that you are too much isolated. Yeah, so the suppression of overwhelming noise using those active noise canceling headphones might be a good idea, but you are not really part of the office environment anymore. So if there are somebody approaching you and want to get into a conversation, that might be a problem. And it's the question how the external or the person you're approaching you and want to get into a dialogue really tells you that he want to get into a dialogue with you. Yeah, and you must have the idea or the choice to say, yes, I'm ready and I want to get into the conversation, or no, I'm not ready. I'm not in the situation where I can get into the conversation. But what one can do, for instance, is to implement some kind of wake-up phrase in those headphones, like you know this from your Alexa or your Siri or so, where you have a wake-up phrase. And after that wake-up phrase, the system does something, yes? And in this case of those headphones, you can use those wake-up phrases to switch into the transparency mode so that you can hear your environment and you can normally get into a conversation if you're ready to. And last but not least, I'm over the time now, I know. But last but not least, I do not want to miss to address as well the self-regulation and the time and task management topic, which is a pretty different one, yeah, because we are addressing in our project many different dimensions of time perception as well, complexity reduction, and how to manage your day and how to deal with some kind of flexibility during the day, when new tasks come in. One device that we developed, that we prototyped, is something that looks a bit like this. It's a we call it Autipuck because it looks a bit like a puck with whatever, yeah. But it's a physical device that connects to your digital task and calendar application. And that is as well able to communicate your current situation and status by the position on the desk where you have it on. So by positioning this book in a different position, you can communicate to somebody else, to your colleagues, for instance, that you are in a focused working situation, or you are ready for some conversation, or you're doing a break or whatever. Yeah, so you can communicate your current working state. And we have a small display in the middle of this device, which tells you what task is the next on your schedule, what you can do next, and this can as well give you a certain hint when it's time to make a break, when you're working for too long constantly on one task. Now I rushed through those technologies, and I hope you got a slight insight in what we are doing in our project. And I'm very, very happy to get in touch with you afterwards. And I'm open for your questions. Thank you.